Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Real Money, Real Business podcast. I'm Lauren, and today we have Andre on the show who's selling an affiliate business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. Hey Andre, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, Lauren. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm really excited to have you on the show. I'm sure we're going to learn a lot about you and your business. But before we dive in, I'm going to give our listeners a brief overview of the business so that they have a better idea of what we're talking about. As I mentioned, this is an affiliate business. It was created in November 2020, and it's in the business and information niches. The average revenue for the business is $18,644 per month, and it makes an average of $15,298 per month in net profit. The assets included with the business are a domain, including all site content and files, 301 redirects, freelancer relationships, as well as Facebook and LinkedIn social media accounts. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 66589 to learn more about this business. Or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So now that we know more about the business, let's hear from Andre. Andre, can you fill us in on your background in starting and running online businesses?
So I started 9 years ago. I was still in high school and I was just constantly Googling how to make money online, probably like many other listeners. And I started with a lot of very small projects. These days you would call them like side hustles, from selling YouTube likes to a very small content marketing agency where we would produce content. And as time went on, I really got into affiliate marketing. I read some affiliate marketing or affiliate website case studies, and I just really liked the business model and started my first website in 2015 and went from there.
Yeah, that's great. It sounds like you've had that entrepreneurial spirit for a long time. And I think affiliate is a great way to really get into online business. What was it about affiliate websites that really captured your attention and made you want to pursue this branch of online business in particular?
I really enjoyed reading these affiliate website case studies. It seemed like it was a very simple first business to create. A lot of these case studies were written by one-man shows. You didn't need a big team to make a big impact. And I just really enjoy being able to create a website, really put in a lot of effort in the beginning, and then have a passive income for months and years. I really like the idea of outcompeting other people in the SERPs. And even to this day, even though nothing is guaranteed by search engines, it's still very much a meritocracy, where if you have better content and better links than your competition, you can create affiliate website from scratch. And within 1 or 2 years, you can be in the top of Google. And it's very attractive to me, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It can definitely become quite addictive, as you say, trying to outcompete your competitors. And it is a perfect business model for a solopreneur like yourself. When you were trying to figure out what sort of niche or topics that you wanted to create your content on, what made you narrow down into this content that you're producing now?
So I just had a very natural progression throughout the years. My first website was in the sports niche, I would say, a very, very small niche. And I think in my last year of high school, and I made maybe a couple $100 from that website per month, but I did manage to sell it. And as you said, very addicted to affiliate marketing. I then created a second website, which I then sold again. And with every website, I learned a huge amount about how to build websites, which niches are lucrative. So with this latest niche, after I sold my second website, I was looking for a new niche, and I was speaking with a friend of mine who actually is a very big affiliate in the website hosting niche, which is a very, very lucrative niche. And I was just asking him for advice, and he just mentioned, hey, you know what? Look at this, the business formation niche. There's a lot of opportunity there. And I think the day I discovered this niche, speaking to my friend, I think I spent the entire night just on Ahrefs and on Google and looking at the competition and saying, hey, there's some underserved keywords here. I think I can do a better job. And that's how it started.
Yeah, that's great. I can imagine the excitement when you realize the potential that could be made in this niche. When it comes to your affiliate partners, are you associated with multiple networks and partners, or do you just work with one affiliate program?
So we use one affiliate network, and within that network, we have partnered with several partners.
Okay, fantastic. It sounds like you've been on quite a journey with this website. As you say, you've certainly got a passion for it. And what are the reasons you've decided to sell the business at this point?
I have two co-founders, and I would say it's mostly because of the difference in our individual goals. Okay, so one of the co-founders is very much looking to retire from the digital business world. He's done very well, and he's our investor. And then I have another co-founder who is my brother, who is very much interested in AI and software engineering. So we realized that if we want to maintain this business, we could easily do so, working very low hours. However, if we want to scale it to six figures and beyond, we would probably need all hands on deck. So because of the goals of my co-founders, it really came down to either selling the business or maintaining it. And when we listed the priorities of every co-founder, we realized that looking for a sale will probably be the best accelerator to our individual goals. So we just decided, hey, maybe it's time to sell now.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. A lot of the sellers that I've spoken to, the business sort of reaches a point where, as you say, it would need sort of quite a large injection of capital and effort to take it to the next level. So it is often the best time to sell at that point. Looking back over your journey with the business, I'm sure there have been some ups and downs. What would you say was your biggest moment of success or your biggest win since starting the business?
I would say I'm extremely happy with the exceptional writers that we were able to find. I have all the stats in front of me, and I have gone through over 1,000 applications. I've done dozens of interviews with really qualified folks. And then I identify and convince to work with us several writers who all of them hold law degrees, and they're just exceptional writers. They can take my instructions. They can write about complex topics and turn them into very, very simple, easy to understand articles. So that's what I think is probably our biggest moat in our niche. And then a very close second would be we created several digital PR campaigns, which got us featured on NBC, some huge websites like Inc. Magazine, Forbes, Yahoo, all the big websites that everybody wants to get featured on, which if you have any experience with affiliate marketing, you know that getting an affiliate marketing or an affiliate website featured on these websites is very difficult. So I'm very happy about that as well. So I would say, finding exceptional writers, creating great content, and then actually being able to be featured on amazing websites and great links from that.
Yeah, I'm sure the backlinks from those websites must have been really powerful, a really good driver of traffic. And being able to work with writers who are an expert in their field, I'm sure gave you a really good competitive edge over your competitors, which is great. I'm sure there were some things that didn't quite go as well. What would you say were some of the biggest setbacks or challenges that you had to overcome?
I would definitely say scalability. I wouldn't say it's a mistake, but what I focused on most is my core area of expertise, which is, great individual pieces of content, finding great writers, teaching them exactly how to write the best content that tends to rank on Google, and then just being able to push out that content. And what I didn't foresee is that it's difficult to actually scale unless you really have experience delegating this work and creating a team around it. So I would say if I were to do it again, I would go back, make sure to keep a very high bar for what content gets published on our website. But then I would definitely make sure to grow the team a little bit bigger. And then the second thing I would say is be more consistent with link building efforts. I think having more content on the website and having more consistent backlinks would result in a stronger brand, which would sort of function as a moat against competitors and algorithm updates.
Yeah, that all makes a lot of sense. And I think delegation is one of the hardest things as a business owner, to sort of hand over control of projects like that, but definitely helps with growth, as you say. Let's take a look at your traffic now. Where does the majority of your traffic currently come from?
So the vast majority of our traffic, 90%, is from search engines. Within that bucket, obviously Google is number one, but we have seen that a good chunk of our conversions also come from other search engines, Bing, Yahoo, DuckDuckGo, these kind of search engines which you would think are very small and would make no money, but actually a lot of conversions come from them as well. So that's 90% of traffic from search engines. And then the rest is just direct traffic and referral traffic.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting that the traffic's coming from these other search engines. Are you doing any SEO work to try and drive that, or are you focusing most of your time on ranking on Google?
I would say on-page SEO, again, is my area of expertise. It's what I love to do. Really, on-page SEO and backlinks are the only two things I've invested my time in. Creating perfect on-page SEO is what I love to do. For backlinks, I have very, very, very high standards. It's very difficult to find great freelancers and great agencies to fulfill, but I've been able to identify a few of them. And yeah, I would say, on-page and backlinks is my bread and butter. It's what I've invested all my time in for this website.
Yeah, well, so given the fact that that is your area of expertise, are you doing all of that on-page SEO and backlink work yourself, or are you outsourcing any of that to agencies and professionals?
The on-page SEO I do myself. We use tools that, they're very well known, such as Surfer, Phrase, Copyscape, any of those. And then for backlinks, we do outsource all the backlinks to freelancers and agencies. I like to focus on page SEO, which I do myself with my team, of course.
Okay, perfect. And I see that you do have a couple of social media accounts. Does social media help drive any traffic to your sites, or is that not really a contributor?
It's not really a contributor. I have never focused on social media. The most lucrative traffic has always come from Google for us, and also in my past as an affiliate marketer. So I just focus on search.
Yeah, sure. It's a strategy that certainly seems to be working, and SEO is definitely the most powerful way of driving traffic, I think. Looking forward, what do you see as the major opportunities for growth that a buyer can tap into with this business?
I would create two buckets of opportunity, easy wins and long-term wins. For easy wins, these are things that I would do myself immediately. I just haven't gotten the time to get to them. So first, exit and any kind of pop-ups. They will convert for sure. Then creating a list and just email marketing campaigns. That's something I have no experience in, but I know for a fact it will be very lucrative for our website and our niche because our readers, they themselves are beginning a journey in their own business. So they will always need more recommendations for services. So creating a list will definitely be a big one. And then in the same vein, remarketing campaigns on Facebook and YouTube to reach these same people again and again, months and years from now, because again, a lot of them will need more services and you can create content and pitch those services to them. So these are the easy wins. The long-term wins would be, creating YouTube content. I think that's a huge opportunity in our niche, again, because there's a lot of topics to cover and some of them may seem a bit daunting for our readers. They very much lend themselves to YouTube content. If you have a person in your team or can hire someone who's good on camera, you can dominate the niche on YouTube. There's not much competition there yet, but there's definitely demand. And then scale written content production up on the website itself. There are thousands of articles that need to be written in this niche and related niches that will definitely drive your topical authority up and you will rank your main keywords better that way. And then the last I would say is just explore related niches and partner up with big brands. We are getting a lot of inquiries for partnerships and there are, again, a lot of secondary services that you can sell to your readers.
Yeah, I think it's great that you're able to break that down into short-term wins and long-term wins. So buyers have something that they can tap into immediately, as you say, low-hanging fruit when they take over the business, and then sort of longer-term projects once they've transitioned and are comfortable with where they're headed. So yeah, definitely a lot of levers that buyers can pull there. You've mentioned that high quality content is definitely a priority for you. So can you walk me through your content creation process from starting with keyword research up until publishing? How does all of that work?
Sure. So I'm actually not the best at keyword research, but I love the 80-20 rule, and that's what I do with keyword research. I tend to really obsess about competition, gather all my competitors, download all of their articles and the keywords that they rank for, and then try to identify topics that I can assume are very bottom of the funnel and very high in buyer intent. And then I would just, see which of those topics get the most search volume and would convert into sales. So I basically make a list of all of these topics, and then I just get started with the real work, which is writing the content and trying to produce better content than the competition. And that model has worked wonderfully for us for all of my websites. I just see what works for the competition. I ignore all the topics that I don't believe have higher buyer intent, especially in the beginning. And then I'm very, very big on SOPs and documentation. I have an exact process on how I find writers, interview them, identify who is great and who will work out. I hire them. Then I have a huge SOP, which I call our author wiki, which is, you can think of it as onboarding. Its purpose is to bring brand new writers up to speed with how we do content. And we have not a very unique way, but we have a specific way. I have a very specific set of expectations in terms of like readability scores, which I think nobody else is doing. It's an in-depth, intricate document that covers absolutely everything a writer needs to know about us and how to create 10 out of 10 content for our website. So once we have identified the topic, once we have found great writers, once we have onboarded them and taught them how to write great content for us, we just get started. We have a great SOP on how to create outlines. I give this SOP to my editor. I give them the topics that need to be written about. They create outlines. They get automatically given to our writers. They create the articles and then we publish them. It's a very well-oiled machine. There's a lot of SOPs and documentation that I use, like a lot of automation as well. I've tried to make this into a process where any buyer can plug into the business and get started immediately, and they'll have every tool that they need to match our content quality.
Yeah, that's great. I think creating those SOPs is crucial when you're trying to, as you say, maintain a consistent standard. So that'll definitely come in handy. How often would you say that you post new content onto your site?
We post content basically continuously. What I do is I tend to work in sprints, which perhaps may not be the best way to work for content. I think there's also an area where I would improve on. If I were to start over, I would definitely focus on having 2-3 months of content roadmap planned out. But what I do is I identify clusters of topics that I think that are related and that our writers can take and create content on that we know will convert into sales. So we may identify 30 topics, we create those 30 topics, and then I go back to the drawing board. I look into our competitors again, try to find new topics, new content clusters to focus on, and then we go back into writing. So it's kind of a sprint environment, what we do.
Yeah, I mean, that does make sense because that way you can sort of deal with what's competitive and the trending topics at the time before you move on to the next topic. The writers that you work with, are they employed by you or are they on a freelance or per project basis?
They're all freelancers. One of my other strengths is being able to have a great relationship with freelancers. I know exactly what they want, what they need, because like as I mentioned before, when I was young, 9 years ago, I did all sorts of things. And one of those things was actually freelance writing. So I know what it's like to be a freelance writer. And I was able to build great relationships with my writers. I have never had a writer leave me, and they always are constantly asking me for more work. So when a buyer will take over, they can take my SOPs and they have a great relationship in place with these freelancers and they can just hit the ground running with them.
Yeah, I think that's crucial. It's great to have such a great relationship with the freelancers and it'll definitely help them provide you with their best work, which will reflect itself in increased traffic and quality. So it's all good in the long run. Working with a team like this, what does a typical work week look like for you as the business owner when running this business? What sort of activities are taking up your time and how long are you spending on the business every week?
You know what? It's actually quite boring these days. I put in a lot of effort to create these SOPs and these processes and they just kind of work, So everybody has all their questions answered. It's a very well-oiled machine. They just create the content, they get new articles assigned, they create more content. My job is basically to just make sure that everything works fine, that nothing is on fire. I check earnings, I check traffic, I check rankings, I update some plugins, and that's basically all my work. I just make sure that everything is running smoothly.
Yeah, I think that's the power of SOPs. Having all of that in place has helped you sort of optimize all of these processes so that everything is as streamlined as possible. And I think that's what's helped to create such a passive business for you. So definitely a great thing. Creating SOPs is definitely something that we encourage for all business owners.
Yeah, definitely. I would encourage anybody to try to processize their day-to-day work and give their writers, editors, and their whole team a lot of support in the beginning because it's just a huge investment and it will pay off 10 times over for you in the future. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Given the fact that, as you say, the business is running like a well-oiled machine, what do you think are some of the challenges that a buyer might face when they take over the business?
I remember when I first started this business, I had a week or two where it seemed a bit daunting, this niche. And I would say that may be a challenge in the beginning. It will seem daunting. However, there are two things that we'll have that I didn't have. First of all, you'll have the website that I created, where we go over these very introductory topics, where we explain everything in very, very easy to understand ways. So you'll be able to get up to speed very quickly. And secondly, you'll be supported by a team of writers who has written about these topics for the past 2 years. And again, all of them hold law degrees. So you're absolutely supported from every way. That's really the only challenge I can imagine that a buyer would face. And you are really supported in making sure that you get caught up to speed and you have no questions.
Yeah, I like that. The buyer is getting the business, which is a great asset. But as you say, the website itself is a resource that they can use to learn more about the niche. Yeah, that's fantastic. How much support are you willing to offer the buyer to help them navigate some of these challenges?
I'm happy to offer 30 days of email support and a couple of calls. Beyond the first month, I'm very flexible and happy to offer an ongoing arrangement of consultation and whatever we come up with the buyer.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that'll come in very handy. And when it comes time to negotiating the details of the sale, would you be open to something like an earn-out agreement?
Generally speaking, yes, we are open to an earn-out. However, we would like to see the majority of the payment upfront and then the rest as an earn-out.
Yeah, that makes sense. And would you commit to a non-compete agreement?
Yes, that's not a problem.
Perfect. Well, Andre, you got into affiliate websites, as you say, when you were very young, sort of getting into the online business world. And I'm sure there are many of our listeners who would like to replicate your success. So do you have any advice that you would give to our listeners that you wish you knew when you first started this site?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. I would say make sure you create some internal SOPs, maybe for yourself as well. What is important for your business? What I've identified the most is you need great content and you need a lot of it. And then you also need backlinks. So just try to create an idea in your mind what your content should look like and try to just replicate it again and again and keep things simple. You don't really need to go out into a lot of different directions. Content and backlinks alone, these are two areas where you can spend 5-10 years of your life in and you'll not be the number one guy in those areas. You just have to do the same thing over and over again, try to improve incrementally, and just keep things simple. A lot of great content. You will have success. Like I have a lot of friends in my affiliate marketing world. I've never seen anybody fail at affiliate marketing if they are just consistent. They create great content and they create a lot of it.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic advice. Consistency is definitely key. And I think creating those SOPs will help you replicate the things that do work instead of just sort of winging it each time. So yeah, that's great advice.
Yeah, that's definitely the big one. Create great SOPs. They will actually unlock your ability to create a lot of great content. You'll have to spend some time learning what great content is, but then being able to unlock the ability to scale is all about SOPs and processes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's something that a lot of entrepreneurs underestimate as well. So all of this leads us into the final question of the interview, the one we've been building up to the whole time. So, Andre, if you had to put yourself into the shoes of a buyer, why do you think your business is a business worth buying?
That's a good question. Well, the niche is growing and will never, ever go away. If you have faith in American entrepreneurs, you will have faith in this niche. Our readers will always require some hand-holding when starting their first business. And this means that an authority in this niche is very much needed, okay? Which makes our business serve as a great stepping stone for building out a larger authority site in our niche. Replicating our content and our link building will cost you in excess of $300,000 and 2 years of your time. So our business is a perfect fit for a buyer who has experience leading a small team and who is looking to build out an authority website in a very lucrative evergreen niche.
Absolutely. Very well said. And I agree. It definitely is an evergreen niche and something that, being in the same business ourselves, we do see it growing in the years to come. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our listeners that I might have missed?
I think we covered everything. It's a great niche. It's a great business. The only thing I could say is that we have received and we're constantly receiving requests for partnerships from new brands, including public companies. So one thing I would encourage people to keep in mind is that in starting a business niche, there's a lot of secondary services throughout a reader's journey they'll have to go through. So there's a lot of room for opportunity. You can really create an authority website in the startup business niche and then sell a lot of services throughout the journey of creating a business. You have insurance, you have hosting, you have payroll, accounting. So I think it's a great asset if you're looking to build an authority website.
Yeah, that's a good thing to point out and a good way to diversify the business as well. Well, Andre, thank you so much for coming onto the show and giving us some insight into you and your business. It's been a really fantastic conversation and I appreciate you taking the time out of your day.
Thank you so much. It was really fun.
All right, everyone, thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 66589. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.